for the acharyas and then we can start. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. First, I congratulate all of you who have spared the precious afternoon time of Sunday afternoon to come and hear something about Krishna. For most of the people, Sunday afternoon is very precious because that's the only time you get to sleep. And that's the only time there is no mentally stimulating television serials to watch, probably. So that's the best time to sleep. And you're sparing that valuable sleep time to come here and hear about Krishna. It is very credible. Yesterday only we were hearing one seminar about the education system, and a very striking point was made. How many of you have heard of the Panchakosha Vikas of children? So basically, every human being, if he has to become a sane human being, his 5 koshas need to be very developed. The basic kosha is considered as Annamaya Kosh. And Srila Prabhupada speaks about Annamaya Kosh in Bhagavad Gita also. And he mentions that, you give anything to a child. What does the child typically do? First put in the mouth. That shows that he is in the development of an Annamaya Kosh. Right? What is the sign of a person whose Annamaya Kosh is fully developed? Properly developed. Does anyone know? Sign of a person whose Annamaya Kosh is very nicely developed. There are 2 signs. One sign is the person never becomes sick. Have you seen such people in your life? They rarely fall sick. We had one brahmachari in our temple, Devanand Pandit Prabhu. How many of you know him? Have you ever seen him falling sick? Devanand Pandit Prabhu never falls sick. Because why? Because in the childhood, the Annamaya Kosh is fully developed. A sign of a person whose Annamaya Kosh is developed is that he understands when to eat, he understands when to sleep, he understands how much to eat, and he understands how much to sleep. How many of you honestly feel that you are in that stage? Many times, many married women, they come and say that when I see that my husband is very angry and he's speaking things which I am not able to understand, I understand that actually he is hungry. So many women will have this experience. Because the man is hungry, but he is not able to understand that he is hungry. Because the Annamaya Kosh is not yet developed. Just imagine. something that is supposed to be developed right in the childhood is not developed even at elderly ages. Or you see people fighting for places in windows in train. You have seen like that? One time one of our devotees, he climbed a train and he sat in a window. But somehow it's like the person was keeping his bag, and then by the time this devotee sat in the window. So this person said, hey, come on, I am supposed to sit in the window. And there was a big fight. So the devotee said, okay, fine, you can continue sitting here. So he picked up his bag and he sat on the other window. It so happened that that day, that particular window, that particular rack had a bomb in it. And the bomb exploded. You know this bomb explosion which took place in Bombay? And in the entire compartment, the devotee was the only person who survived. Everyone else died. So, I mean, I'm not saying that every time you fight like that, there will be a bomb. But what I'm trying to say is that in an elderly age, what the energy that you're spending is on fighting for a window seat. This is a sign of undeveloped Annamaya Kosh. Or sometimes people fight to sit in the front row for Abhishek also, when the Abhishek is going on, right? We are actually demonstrating something which is on the Anandamaya Kosh. The Abhishek of Krishna is actually on the level of Anandamaya, right? But the fight is going to sit in the front row, which means that even the Annamaya Kosh is not yet developed, right? So anyway, so we will not speak about the Annamaya Kosh. We will come back to the main topic. After the Annamaya Kosh, what is required is the development of Pranamaya Kosh. And that Pranamaya Kosh then leads to the development of Manomaya Kosh. What is the thing which goes on to build the Pranamaya Kosh of a person? The Pranamaya Kosh of a person is the Kosh that helps you to do Sangharsha. Right? See, even the word which is used, Prana. Have you heard what is the Sanskrit name for animal? Prani. Correct? And what is the Sanskrit name for human being? Manav. Right? So a prani can only go to the level of developing the Pranamaya Kosh. Therefore you see in the life of an animal what they are doing whole day. That's continuous Sangharsh. You know, we don't have to undergo that Sangharsh. Like how many of you, when you go to a hotel and you are sitting and you are eating something, or let's say at home, let's not come to hotel because devotees don't go to hotel so much, Srila Prabhupada says. So you're sitting at home and you're eating from your plate. How many of you have a fear that somebody else will come and take the food from your plate? Does anybody feel like that? That, oh my God, constantly looking here and there. No, because this is my dabba, I am eating it, nobody is going to come and take it. Why? Because the sangharsh for food is not there. But you see animals, how they eat. They are constantly looking here and there, somebody will come and grab my food. Right? Because constantly there is sangharsh. Correct? We are supposed to have overcome that stage through sangharsh. How is the way that a human being overcomes this stage of sangharsha? How is the stage that a human being develops this Pranamaya Kosh? Right? It is mentioned that the way we overcome, and that is a traditional system which was there, the education system which we had, the way we do it is by reading scriptures, is by hearing the stories of Bhagavatam, the stories of Ramayana, and the stories of Mahabharata. When we see people doing sangharsh in their life, even in such high stages, and how they're handling the difficult situations, right? Then you become strong enough to do that same level of sangharsh. That develops a person's Pranamaya Kosh. A person whose Pranamaya Kosh is developed, he will never commit suicide. It is impossible, right? Right now, most of the intelligent students are committing suicide. Not only in India, but all over the world. What is the repercussion? Why it is happening? The reason behind it? Because Pranamaya Kosh is not developed. But because Pranamaya Kosh is not developed, the ability to do sangharsh is not there. And therefore, Things are lacking. So what the the Shastras say, that the Pranamaya Kosh for developing, the best way is to hear the stories about Ramayana and Mahabharata and Srimad Bhagavatam. And therefore it is important to come and hear. Now unfortunately the Pranamaya Kosh is supposed to be developed before 14 years of age. So that when you enter into puberty, when you start having desires such as, sensual desires or sexual desires, that is the time your Pranamaya Kosh has to be fully developed. And now what are we having? We are having a generation where even the Annamaya Kosh is not developed. And you are exposed to heavy media where I don't know, so many desires are coming into people's mind. What do you expect the society to be? So, what I heard yesterday, interesting fact, that in India in 1800s, so how many of you heard this name of this person called Dharampal? You heard Dharampal? So Dharampal was a follower of Mahatma Gandhi. But he has done one unique contribution. What he has done is that he has researched all old records of Britishers. So when Britishers, they completely visited India, they looked at all the Indian education system and everything. So there were 3 things in India which were, you know all that, right? Which were free of cost. And those 3 things are the biggest businesses now. Which are the 3 things? Anyone knows? 3 things which were free of cost in India. Education, food, food and water includes in food, and justice, nyaya. How many of you read Krishna book? Right? This story of this Brahman who just comes and challenges the king. Hey, my sons are dying, my children are dying, you do something about it. And what does the king say? Okay, please give me 100 Suvarna Mudra, then I'll solve your problem. No. He has to do it immediately. Now who are the most rich people? In America, if you go, the lawyers are the most rich people. Because justice is not free. And which are the companies which makes huge profit? Are the food companies. Right? Anyone wants to enter into business, you go into food business. It's a never-ending business. It's a never-dying business. Right? Prabhuji will approve that fact. And the third is education. So if you have free money, if you have a lot of money lying, open a school. That is the best way to earn money. You will have a lot of children coming in. But all these things were free in India. So Dharampal makes a note in his books. Now he is not a devotee, please try to understand. Dharampal is a Gandhian person. He is not a devotee of Krishna. He is not a Gaudiya Vaishnava, or he is not even a Shri Vaishnava or Kumar Sampradaya, any Sampradaya. He makes a note. He says in India, there were 4 lakh villages. In 4 lakh villages, there were 6 lakh Gurukul. Okay? In 6 lakh Gurukul, see, each Guru has a different way of teaching. So there is no guarantee that all Gurus will teach similarly or all schools. No. Each one has a different style of teaching. Each one has a different speciality of subjects. For example, we have heard that in Mithila, right, there was a subject called as Nyaya Shastra, which was being taught. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he had to go to that place and he learnt this Nyaya Shastra and he remembered it completely. And then when he came back to Nadia, he started teaching Nyaya Shastra there. So, in Jagannath Puri. So we know that there are certain Gurukuls which were specialized in certain topics. Some were specialized in Nyaya Shastra, some were specialized in Artha Shastra, many different things. He said there were 3 topics which were common and taught in all these 6 lakh Gurukuls. And Dharampal has made a note of it. And Dharampal has researched it from the Britishers' notes, and Britishers have made a note of it. And those 3 topics were Ramayana, Mahabharata and Srimad Bhagavatam. Commonly taught in all the 6 lakh Gurukuls of India. Why? Because development of Pranamaya Kosh. Development of Pranamaya Kosh is extremely important. If you want to have businessmen who will take care of nature, who will take care of nation, then you need to have businessmen who have developed their Pranamaya Kosh. Otherwise it is not possible. If you want to have Kshatriyas, and when we say Kshatriyas, we don't necessarily mean soldiers. They are definitely Kshatriyas, but when we say Kshatriyas, we mean the people who are in administration, the people who are ministers, people who are prime ministers. If you want them to be taken to have the sense that I need to take care of my citizens first, they need to have developed Pranamaya Kosh. And if you want to have Brahmanas who are taking care of other people, they need to have very developed Pranamaya Kosh. Otherwise, what will Brahmanas do? They will use the ignorance of people for their own benefits. And this has happened in India, right? I don't need to tell you stories about it. It is all heard, it is all there, right? Why? Because Pranamaya Kosh is not sufficiently developed. So this is a problem. And if you want to have Shudras who don't keep on changing jobs, right? They need to be Shudras having developed Pranamaya Kosh, right? So if you see in Skanda Puran, it is mentioned Kalau Shudram Sambhava, right? In Kali Yuga, everyone is Shudra. But we are not even proper Shudras. Because Shudra means one who sticks to the job throughout his life. How many of you have changed the job? I have changed I am doing my 4th job now in my office. So not even a proper Shudra. Right? How many of you have changed jobs? Young people. All of us, right? But Shudra means what? You take a job, like my father, 23 years, he just served one company. He never thought of, he would come home so many times and crib, oh, my boss says like this, my officer says like this and that, but he never changed the job. It is inconceivable for us. How is it possible? Why? Because there is developed Pranamaya Kosh. There is some level of Pranamaya Kosh which is developed. So a person is able to stick to one job. And therefore we see somehow I don't know why we don't think about these topics from this perspective. How many of you have studied Chaitanya Charitamrut? In Chaitanya Charitamrut, there is a wonderful personality of the name Srivas Thakur. You heard this person? Yeah. Now, there is a story in Srivas Thakur's life where one time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to him and he said, Srivas Thakur, you are not doing any job. How will you earn money? From where will you get money? You need to maintain your family, you need to maintain your children. Right? And Srivas Thakur said what? He said, I will just clap 3 times. Like this. And if Lakshmi does not personally come and provide me the needs, then I will commit suicide. He made a statement like that. So Srivas Thakur apparently economically was a very, 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 really hand-to-mouth type of a personality, right? But Srivas Thakur had 3 servants at his home, right? There was a Sukhi, which we all heard of. There was a Dhobi of his own personal Dhobi that he had. And there were other servants in his house. How many of you have good servants in your house? Please raise your hands. In Bombay, you don't get servants. In India, you don't get servants. You don't get a servant which will remain with you. Why? In Srivas Thakur, he doesn't have enough money to maintain his family. He had three servants. And they remained with him. Even after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left, everything left. There was one servant who was working in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's house. His name was Ishan Thakur. Even after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, he was still there, continuing as a servant. Whether his mother is not having enough money, what a widow can provide. How much of mother is widow, wife is widow, but Ishan Thakur is still serving in the family. Right? This is the level of a Shudra. So we don't even have systematic Shudras now. Why? Because Pranamaya Kosh is destroyed. Our education system is not equipped to deal with Pranamaya Kosh. And therefore Srila Prabhupada said that the temples of Hare Krishna movement should be taken as educational institutes. Because we talk of so much about improving our country, we talk so much about doing this, but the citizens of the country will not be improved unless their Pranamaya Kosh is developed. And the Pranamaya Kosh will not be developed until they discuss Ramayana, they discuss Mahabharata, and discuss Bhagavad. And when you discuss Ramayana and Mahabharata, you don't just discuss like, okay, Ravan came, took Sita away, and then Hanumanji went and took Sita back, and then Ram had to ask her to do Agni Pariksha, and then Ram banished her, and then Lavakush were born. You don't discuss Ramayana like this. By discussing Ramayana like this, it is nice, it is very nice. But that will not help you in developing Pranamaya Kosh. But when you go in the depths of Ramayana, right? When Bharat Maharaj came back and he got the news that his father is no more. He didn't get the news that his father is no more. It was just a anticipation that something has gone wrong. And he came, right? Then he saw the faces of the people, how they reacted. When he went to talk to Kaikeyi, how Kaikeyi spoke to him. What Bharat Maharaj replied in back. Then he went to Kaushalya, how Kaushalya spoke. What Bharat, each and all of those dialogues and details, they are so important. You have to go in that length and get absorbed and understand Ramayana from that perspective. It is, and then how Vasishtha Muni came the next day and told Bharat Maharaj that now you become the king. And the argument which Bharat Maharaj gives that why he should not become the king, the argument which Vasishtha Muni gives in back that why you should become the king. Then when Bharat Maharaj went to actually meet Lord Ramchandra, Lord Ramchandra gives him 9 instructions on how to become a good king. And it is wonderful. It is nectar. You have to go in that depth and understand Ramayana. And when we go in that depth and we see things in that detailed perspective, right? Then our Pranamaya Kosh actually gets developed. And then we can handle difficult situations in life. So today, I thought of discussing one such topic. We have been hearing this topic right from the day one of our joining Krishna Consciousness. When we did our first Journey of Self-Discovery course, which is now called as Journey of Self-Discovery course. But that time it was called as 6-session Bhagavad Gita course. And inevitably you would come across a topic called as demigod worship. How many of you have heard about this? Dealt about this? We have different perceptions. And typically after 3 or 4 years of spending in Krishna Consciousness, when the topic comes of dealing with this entire episode of demigod worship, I have personally experienced this, and I have seen devotees going through this. They go through a particular problem called as cognitive dissonance. You know what is a cognitive dissonance? All great Prabhujis are sitting there. They can. What is a cognitive dissonance? You heard of this problem? It's a psychological problem. Cognitive dissonance. What does it mean? Cognitive dissonance means that you believe in certain values and you believe in certain concepts to your heart, very core, and suddenly you are put in an environment where something else is happening. And you feel, मेरे को यहाँ पे नहीं रहना है. Let me escape this situation. I don't want to go into this. Maybe this is not good for me. Maybe what will Krishna think if I do like this? Maybe what will my Guru think if I do like this? Maybe what devotees will think if I do like this? And then you go into a typical cognitive dissonance and you just don't know how to handle that situation. How many of you have experienced this in connection to demigod worship? Nobody? Well, I go through this every year. Because I have Ganpati in my house. And I took up this topic because now Chaturmas has started. And staying in India, there is just n number of demigod festivals. And they all happen in Chaturmas. Although we also have wonderful festivals like Radhashtami, Janmashtami, Balaram Jayanti, all coming up. But there are also major festivals like Ganpati and Navratri, which happens in Chaturmas. Right? And they, being the Gujarati and Marathi hub, Mumbai city, you can't escape. It's just everywhere. So, and then devotees undergo this cognitive dissonance. Oh, Anna, how do I handle with this? How am I doing right? Am I doing wrong? This, that. So I just felt that we should discuss this aspect of demigod worships through various perspectives. And then there is no black and white answer. Because another problem of when Pranamaya Kosh is not fully developed, right? You typically tell a person, Prabhu ji, मुझे बताओ क्या करना है? ऐसा करूँ या ऐसा करूँ? ये बंदा मेरे पास, ये हमारा नेबर है, वो मेरे पास हर गणपति चतुर्थी को प्रसाद लेके आता है. मैं खाऊं या नहीं खाऊं? हाँ या ना बोलो बस. ये बंदा मुझे मंदिर में कहता है कि मुझे मंदिर में जाना है, गणपति के मंदिर में मुझे हर मंगलवार को लेके मेरी माँ मुझे लेके जाती है बचपन से, अभी भी मुझे लेके जाती है, मैं हाँ क्या ना बताओ बस. बट सी यू विल नेवर गेट आंसर लाइक हाँ या ना. If your pranamaya kosha is developed, you will understand how to handle the situation yourself. Right? I just heard a wonderful story, and I'll tell you that story. And in that you can understand that how wonderfully the situation was handled by a person whose pranamaya kosha was very nicely developed. It is not connected to demigods, but it's a very nice story. So there is a very nice Mataji, Vrajkumari Mataji. She is a very wonderful devotee, daughter of Janama Mataji. Some of you Matajis might have heard her name. So she was coming to Radha Gopinath Mandir, and she had two good friends. So when she was coming to temple, she inspired these two girls also to come. Now, they were girls from normal families who had no devotional connection whatsoever. And these girls started coming to temple. Now, when the people in the house, they came to know that, when the parents came to know that my two daughters are going to Hare Krishna temple. Now, not everybody always had a good impression about Hare Krishna temple, right? Many people identified. One time, I was preaching to one boy in my college once, and he was inspired. Now he's an initiated devotee, luckily. So he started coming to temple. His father came to know that my boy is going to Hare Krishna temple. Immediately, father came here all the way from Delhi. He said, what are you doing to ISKCON? I have heard these ISKCON people, they have drugs and they have all these things, and you are going there. He said, Papa, they don't even have tea and coffee. What to speak of having drugs? He got his father to the temple. He saw how people live here, this here. And luckily this happened with me. I didn't intend to do it. When he first came to my house, there was a cricket match going on. And I was somehow so obsessed in preaching to him or talking to him that I was not looking at the TV at all. Right? The cricket match was going on. People in my house were watching it, but I was not even looking at it. So he told his father, Papa, what to speak of not taking tea and coffee? They don't even watch cricket match. So his father said, then I have to, okay, then maybe ISKCON is bona fide. Like that. So anyway, so these two girls were also started to coming to ISKCON temple. And by the way, if you watch cricket match, don't feel sad. I don't want to intend you like that. But this is how the thing happened in the past. Okay. So now these two girls started coming to temple. And they started following Krishna consciousness. They started liking chanting. Now how to chant at home? Because parents were very afraid. They were saying that, how this girl will chant Hare Krishna and she will not study and this and that. So the parents were sad. So these girls would, in their free time, they had colleges around. So in their breaks, they would come to temple, they would complete their rounds, whatever rounds they would chant. In the home night, they would sleep, and sometimes they would go under their blanket and then chant remaining rounds. They completed their Krishna consciousness like this throughout. They never fought with their parents, never argued with their parents, nothing doing. And nicely, silently performing Krishna consciousness because they understood this is a nice thing. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the object of love. I need to establish that love. They understood this fact. But just see, the pranamaya kosha was developed so well, things were happening in a different way. And then one day, the mother said that now we are supposed to get you married. तुम्हारा भी marriage fix हो गया, करने का है. अभी you are a devotee, you are chanting 16 rounds, you are practicing all regulative principles. What is the first fear you will have? What if the boy is not following the regulative principles? What if the boy is a non-vegetarian? What if the boy is this and that? So many things. This girl did not say anything. He said, okay, you want me to get married to one person? Okay, I'll get married. So which boy you want me to get married? So father and mother said, okay, this is a boy that we have identified. He's a good boy. So she had a talk with him and some basic compatibility was there. So she just went ahead. She said, okay, fine, I'll get married to him. But see, the fire was there, the fire of Krishna consciousness. Now she did not say, are you a Hare Krishna? I am chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Is it okay for you? I am going to follow the regulative principle. Is it okay for you? Nothing doing. Nothing. Just got married. And one day, she told her husband in the morning, she said, you know, there was one desire which my grandmother had for many days. He said, what was the desire? He said, but I am very attached. The problem is that I am so attached to my grandmother that I want to follow this desire. He said, what? He said, when my grandmother passed, she told me this one mantra, which is called Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare. It is my grandmother's desire that I chant this mantra. Is it okay if I chant? He said, yeah, of course, of course. If the grandmother's desire was there, you should fulfill it. So she chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Just see. No arguments. Grandmother's desire. And the grandmother wanted that I slowly increase my rounds. Yeah, of course, please increase your rounds. So, started chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. 16 rounds. Then she said, you know, when I was a small child, my grandmother would take me to this temple. Would you like to come with me once? I said, yeah, I'll come with you. The husband came here, saw the deities, saw the people, liked, must have spoken to Sankirtan Prabhu also. I don't know. So, talked with many people around and very happy, right? Now that person is initiated devotee. And husband and wife are serving the biggest project of India, that is the temple in Mayapur, which is coming up, of ISKCON. They are serving there. Can you imagine? Just handled in a very swift and intelligent way, because the Pranamaya Kosh was developed. Ability to understand Sangharsh and faith. You see, we have heard in ISKCON, we have heard one statement very often, right? What is that? Radha Gopinath Prabhu teaches this. Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Ko hai Sudrud Nishchay, Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Kruta hai. You heard this verse? It's coming from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yeah? That Shraddha means if you perform Krishna consciousness, all your work will be done. Right? But how many of us have that faith? How many of us have that faith? Right? I was recently reading hearing one book. So all of you know Shivaji Maharaj. He's a great personality. Maharashtra, practically everybody knows him. So one great author, Baba Saheb Purandare, he has written a book called Raja Shiva Chhatrapati. You know, I would insist that you read this book. Because what you get to hear is the sangharsh that this person went through. The constant sangharsh. You know. But the faith in the heart. What was that faith? Swarajya vave hito shrinchi ichha. That let this Swarajya take place, this is not my desire, it is desire of Supreme Personality of Godhead. That faith was there. Why? Because the Pranamaya Kosh was developed. Why the Pranamaya Kosh was developed? Because in Pune, how many of you been to Pune? There's a place called Lal Mahal. How many of you have seen this? So Lal Mahal was the first palace which was built by Shahaji Maharaj, which was the father of Shivaji. And any Bhagavad reciter, any Mahabharat reciter, any Ramayana scholar who would visit Pune, he would be immediately invited to come to speak in Lal Mahal, and Shivaji Maharaj would sit there and the Bhagavad reciter would speak. Right from childhood, and many historians to this day agree that Shivaji Maharaj was an illiterate. He did not know how to write. Does anyone of you know this fact? He could not read or write. Can you believe it? Right? But just see the power of our education system. A person who did not know how to read and write, he managed the entire Maharashtra, protected the entire Maharashtra from Mughal rule. Because reading and writing has nothing to do with education. It has nothing to do with education. Yesterday we were thinking about it. He said even the entire principle of examination, right? People go to school. How do you know a person is educated? What is the parameter? Sorry, I'm just digressing a bit, little here and there. But how do you know a person is educated? How many marks he gets in the exam? Right? That is a parameter. Right? Why has this whole thing come up? Why this entire paradigm of examination has come up? Does anyone have given sufficient thought to this process? And thought about it, that why this whole exam system has come up? Actually, what is the meaning of pariksha? What is the meaning of pariksha? Does pariksha mean examination? No. Sarvatopari iksha. That means you see a person from all the sides, how he has got developed, and make an estimate of how that person is. That is pariksha. Not writing a paper in the exam and getting marks. That is not pariksha. But how this whole pariksha system came in existence? First thing, if a boy, if a teacher is there and you are teaching a subject, and a boy is not able to score a particular type of marks, the education is over. The first, let's say somebody is teaching the second standard, and one topic of second standard is over. The boy gives the exam. The boy is not able to clear the exam. I want to ask a question. Whose failure it is? Whose failure it is? Is the failure of the boy or the failure of the teacher? Any answer? Failure of the teacher. But can the teacher accept it? Can the teacher accept lesser salary because one boy has failed? No. So, when you bring in examination, the responsibility of education lies with student and not the teacher. Right? So, the easiest way of transferring responsibility is to put an exam. Just get rid of the responsibility of teaching. If the exam system is not there, then to understand if a person is learned or not, you have to go through very serious system of education. You have to teach the person so well and so nicely, right, that the person is able to perform in life. But you don't want to do that. Therefore, you put a examination. Second aspect, with the modern education system that we have, it is more or less like a contract. Right? The student gets admitted to the school. The parent makes a contract with the teacher. What is a contract? This is a contract we are making that my child is going to learn, and when the child is educated, he passes out, and then you have to give a certificate. Right? So the contract has to end. The contract cannot be unlimited. So therefore you have an exam. So that, okay, you make a contract, we deliver this product to you, finish. Our job is over. And the third thing is that because education has become a business, so business means what? That means you have to increase the production. That means you have to expand. That means more children should pass out. More, right? So that means you want batch production. So if there are 40, 50 children, how can a person look at it and take care of it? Sometimes in a house, simple example, sometimes in a house there are 3-4 children. And the mother becomes like, अरे बाप रे बच्चे इतना तंग कर रहे हैं कि 3-4 बच्चे घर पे हैं और मैं कुछ नहीं मैनेज कर पा रही हूँ. Right? A mother has love for children. Still she feels like this, right? Natural. 2-3 children. How many of you have 3 children plus? Matajis, anyone? Oh, nobody. But I know many devotees now. They have 3 children. So 3-3 बच्चे घर पे हैं, दंगा कर रहे हैं, मस्ती कर रहे हैं, right? Sometimes the mother feels, अरे बाबा इनको लेके जाओ यहाँ से बाहर. बहुत जो माँ बच्चों से प्रेम करती है, उसको ऐसा लगता है कि 3 बच्चों में मैनेज नहीं कर पा रही हूँ, right? Can you imagine somebody managing 40 children and they are not her children? And she is doing that job because of some family responsibility. How will she able to manage? Will she able to give that love and care and education? But we all accept that it is possible, right? And we all send our children to schools. No, I'm not stop sending children to school. But do chintan on this topic. Is it practically possible? Therefore, what you have is that children also think that, okay, I have to now score marks because that's how my contract is going to get fulfilled. That puts pressure on the children. That pushes them to commit suicide because the contract is not getting fulfilled now. My mother and father have entered into a contract agreement which is not going to get fulfilled. Right? Just see, children who are well educated, well learned are committing suicide. And here there is somebody who doesn't know how to read and write, and he's managing the entire state of Maharashtra. Who is more educated? Why? Because the Pranamaya Kosh was developed. Why? Because the scriptures were studied. Just see the importance of understanding scriptures and learning scriptures in our life. It is so critical. It is so critical. So now we'll come back to our topic of demigod worship. Sorry. So this is how these girls, I explained to you, how they handled the situation in a very nice way. Because the ability of doing sangharsha was there. Right? So we will just look at various perspectives of the entire aspect of demigod worship. And then we'll try to, and we'll open this for question answer session. If you have. Okay. So there is one verse. So how many of you feel hesitant of going to a demigod temple? Honestly tell me. You feel hesitant? And you're not sure. You undergo this process called as cognitive dissonance. Right? You go and study in this Google. It's a very interesting phrase. And it hits in many areas of life. Okay. So let's see what Bhagavad Gita says about this whole topic. So Krishna is saying, and I'll just read the translation. Krishna says, Sahayajna praja sruštva purovacha prajapati. This is a verse, 10th verse from 3rd chapter. Says, Sahayajna praja sruštva purovacha prajapati anena prasavishyadvam eshavos twishta kamadhuk. The translation is, in the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigod along with the sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, Be thou happy by this yajna, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation. The next verse says, the demigods being pleased by sacrifices will also please you, and thus by the cooperation between men and demigods, prosperity will reign for all. This is what Krishna is speaking in Bhagavad Gita. What he is saying? That right at the time of the creation, he created demigods and human beings so that they should cooperate with each other. Where is the question of not going to a temple? Here we are talking about cooperating with demigods at the beginning of creation. And very wonderful examples on our history. Few history. And I'll come to what exactly is not supposed to be done. But I will leave it for the later part. But initially let's begin with these aspects. So, how many of you know this wonderful story of Lord Ramchandra breaking the bow? All of you know. How did that bow come to Janak Maharaj? It came through one of the ancestors. And it was given to him by Lord Shiva. Why did Lord Shiva give that bow to him? Because that personality, Janak Maharaj, and actually whenever we speak of Janak Maharaj, it's not one person, but everybody in that dynasty was known as Janak Maharaj. And Lord Krishna speaks in Bhagavad Gita that you should follow in the footsteps of Janak Maharaj. Right? Asthita Janakadayaha, that shloka is there. He speaks like that. This ancestor helped demigods to fight with demons. And therefore, being pleased, that bow was given to him. What later on happened is that same bow became the cause of uniting the daughter of Janak Maharaj to Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just see. Some help which was rendered to a demigod as a cooperation at some period by some personality ultimately fructified in the daughter from that personality getting married to Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just see this connection. So wonderful. Another wonderful story which comes in the scriptures is the story of Muchukunda. How many of you know Muchukunda story? Very famous. If you go to Badrinath, that cave is there where Muchukunda actually was lying. So what happened to Muchukunda? Muchukunda was a very great, powerful king. He could actually fight with demigods. Sorry, he could actually fight with demons. Now, how many of you have think from this perspective? That the kings of the past were so powerful that they could actually fight with biggest demons. Another example of that comes in Ramayana itself, where it is mentioned the area of Trataka is geographically described. You know Trataka demoness? Everyone knows, right? Trataka was the first demoness which was killed by Ramachandra, right? So the geographical area of Trataka is described, and it is mentioned from where the border of Ayodhya ended, from there the Trataka's border started. So just see, that means Trataka as a demoness could not enter into Ayodhya. You see, so much power. Therefore that place was known as Ayodhya. That means nobody can fight with it, not even Trataka. So when first Vishwamitra Muni came and said that I want to take your child to go and fight out, the first thing Dasharath Maharaj said was, hey, why you want to take my child? I will come. I will come and fight. You don't need to take the Supreme Personality of Godhead for this. Even I can kill Trataka myself. And that was the power. How many of you have heard this story? In Mahabharata later on, once it happened that Balramji went when when Samba, right, the great grandson of Krishna, he took the daughter of Abhimanyu, right? Am I right? Daughter of Duryodhan, sorry, right? And he just kidnapped. And then they captured Samba. And then Balramji went for negotiations. Correct? You know this? And the Yadus, they passed a very powerful statement. Right? They said, these you Yadavas, you have been washing the feet of us Kurus. And now you are coming for negotiation, like that. He made that statement. You remember this? It is there. Why he said like this? Because you see, the entire city of Hastinapur, you know, Kamsa as a demon, he was so great and so valiant, right? He had practically conquered so many parts of India. The entire Mathura onwards, the whole thing was Kamsa's. And all these great demons were working for Kamsa. But he could not conquer Hastinapur. Why? Because there was one great person staying there called Bhishma Pitama. You cannot fight with Bhishma Pitama. Even Kamsa could not fight with him. Even all these great demons could not fight with him. Right? Therefore, some of the Yadu kings and some of their prince and queens, they were sent into those places to stay. That please go and stay there so that Kamsa will not come and disturb. Therefore, he made that statement that you Yadus, you know, we are actually washing our feet. So because of Bhishma Pitama, Kamsa could not conquer Hastinapur. Because of Dasharath Maharaj, Trataka could not conquer Ayodhya. That was the power of the kings. Correct? So Muchukunda, as another king, was so powerful that he actually assisted demigods to fight demons. Can you imagine so much of power? And the demigods were so pleased after he fought for many years. That fight was going on. The demigods won the fight. The demigods were so pleased. They said, okay, Muchukunda, ask for whatever you want. Whatever you want. Muchukunda said, now what can I ask for? Because I've been fighting for you so long. My whole dynasties have gone ahead. Because there's a time zone difference between the heavenly realm and the earth realm. It's like the Chaturmas period that we celebrate here for 4 months is just like one night for the heavenly realm. So we are celebrating the 4 Chaturmas, but this is proportionate to only one night there. So there is a time zone difference. So many years he was fighting in the heavenly realm, so you can imagine how many years must have passed here. So he said, if I go, my family is not there, nobody knows me who I am as a king. If I go there, nobody's going to recognize me. My kingdom is gone to somebody else. My parents have gone. My children have gone. There is no point in it. So I just want to sleep. So the demigod said, okay, you go and sleep. And then the demigod said, okay, he said, but I want a benediction. Nobody should disturb my sleep. In fact, if anyone comes to disturb my sleep, and if I open my eyes and look at that person, the person will burn into ashes. So Muchukunda was sleeping in that cave for many, many, many years. Right? But then what happened? There was one person, everyone forgot about Muchukunda. Right? Everyone forgot about him. His generations forgot, his dynasties forgot. Nobody knew. One person did not forget. Who was that? Lord Krishna. Why Lord Krishna did not forget Muchukunda? Because he helped demigods to fight with demons. That's what Krishna is speaking here in Bhagavad Gita. That I created generations of demigods and human beings for cooperation. And Krishna had that such soft corner because he helped my devotees. He helped the Suras. This is very clear understanding that we should have. Right? The cooperation between demigods and human beings. And then what happened as the consequence of that? When the time came to kill Kala Yavan, right? The name is very significant. Yavana. He's a Kala Yavana. The Kala Yavana was conquered through the cooperation between men and demigods. Very intelligent, very interesting concept. So this Kala Yavana, he was made to run. And he ran all the way up to Badrinath, chasing Krishna. And Krishna took Kala Yavan right in front of Muchukunda. And then when Muchukunda saw Kala Yavan sleeping there, he went and kicked him, thinking that it is Krishna sleeping there. And Muchukunda opened his eyes, and Kala Yavan was burned to ashes. And then after that, Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared in front of him. And you must read the prayers offered by Muchukunda to Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just see the devotion, just see the amazing surrender. So Kala Yavan did not have this cognitive dissonance of whether should I help demigods or not. Right? He had a very clear understanding that what I am doing. A very clear understanding. But when the time came, the Supreme Personality of Godhead came in front of him, the devotion just sprang up. Right? So Srila Prabhupada very intelligently mentions in this Bhagavad Gita the concept of yaja and bhaja. Right? Yaja means to worship, and bhaja means to offer one's life and soul. Right? Bhaja is only meant for Krishna. That is exclusive prerogative of Lord Vishnu. That we offer our life and manaso deho geho jo kichu more arpilu tuva pade Nanda Kishore. Right? This is Nanda Kishore's prerogative. But yaja, well, that has to be offered to everybody. Any personality you have to yaja. Right? Even if you want to, many devotees also, who probably into hoteling business and things like that, you have to give yaja to the municipal corporation. Correct? Because they are in charge of that. And you need to offer that certain level of worship. Right? Can you avoid that? No, you cannot. So yaja is meant for everybody. Yaja is meant for any person who is superior. In fact, our scriptures say that anyone who is superior to you by age, anyone who is superior to you by qualification, anyone who is superior to you by varna, anyone who is superior to you by the evolution of life has to be given respect. Whether that is your mother, whether that is your father, whether that is your guru, spiritual master, whether that is your shikshak, or whether that is a demigod. They all have to be respected. That is very important. So this concept is very clear. Right? Does anyone have any confusion in this issue? Now I will tell you one very wonderful thing which yesterday only I came to know. You see, and how this thing existed in our culture right from the beginning. You see, in terms of polluted cities, right? In terms of the amount of pollution which are caused in cities, the city of Delhi, city of Bangalore, and city of Mumbai, all three are equal, almost equal. How many of you remember the recent news which came few years back, last year only. It happened just after Diwali. That the entire city of Delhi was completely covered with thick fog. Smog, actually, it's called smog because of the pollution. And that smog remained in the city so much. One devotee was recently sharing that his parents, they sent selfies. Selfies of them sitting in the house wearing mask. People were wearing mask in the house. The same amount of vehicles are there in Mumbai, right? The same amount of pollution is caused here. But have you any time faced this type of situation in Mumbai? Why? Because of this wonderful ocean on the side. This ocean completely takes away all the pollution of the city, right? That is Varun Dev. Do you feel that you are not obliged to Varun Dev? Have you any time passed over Marine Drive and folded your hands and said, thank you so much for protecting us from the pollution? No, but it is important. But, and what do we do? What do we do as a reciprocation to Varun Dev, right? The entire sewerage of Mumbai city goes into the ocean, right? We don't have an alternative sewerage system in Mumbai city, despite being so advanced. We don't have. Even in our Wada, in Govardhaniko village, we have an alternative sewerage system. I would insist you to go there and see it once, right? Where all the sewerage that is coming from all the places in Wada, in the Govardhaniko village campus, it goes into a unit, right? What is it called as? Huh? SBT. What is that? Full form? Symbiotic? Yeah. Soil biotechnology. That technology is just a small, like maybe like a shape of a garage at the most, that much big. And it has some layers of plants and some sand and everything. And the sewerage water is converted to drinking quality water. Now, can we not do it in Bombay city? We can do it. There is so much of money. People are having so much of money. People are spending money on smartphones. Why can't you spend money on building something like this? Why is the need of purchasing heavy, expensive smartphones and cars? There is no need. There is hardly any road to drive car, and people are having big, huge BMWs. I mean, I don't have any problem. Please have it if the money. But think about it. The car almost costs as that of a house, right? But fine. I mean, you want to show off. I want to show off that I am such a rich man. But have some sense. Can my money be used for something else? Can it be used for something good for the city, bringing something good? So this has to happen for everyone. You know, one person cannot think about it, right? Everyone's evolution, everyone's consciousness has to get evolved. Otherwise, what can you do for the nation? What can you do for the country? What can you do for the city that you're living in? And can you say that, no, my Krishna consciousness, my devotion, okay, I'm happy with it. I don't care about city, I don't care about nation, I don't care about my state. Can you live like this in isolation? Not possible, right? So we need to think about these things. Such a progressive city, there is no alternative sewerage system, right? If one day the ocean becomes angry, your city will not survive. It will be finished. And it has happened, right? It has happened in the Andaman, it has happened in the Indonesia, it has happened in Japan, it has happened in so many places. But it has not happened here. Although we are putting all the sewerage every day into the ocean, and not a single person folding his hands when he's passing through Marine Drive. Or my humble understanding of why it is not happening is because the entire Machhimar community on the day of Narali Purnima, they worship ocean. Just see. You may say, oh, you are eating fish, so you are not a devotee chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But they are worshipping the ocean, and your city is protected by that. And also my humble opinion is that because we have these three great temples on the side of the ocean, beginning with Mahalakshmi, Radha Rasbihari and Radha Gopinath, all at the ocean, protecting the city, right? Otherwise, you're just killing the ocean practically every day. But there is one community who worships, right? Now you may say that this community is a very they are not like very sophisticated devotees, and you may say, they are not worshippers of Krishna, right? But who says they are not worshippers of Krishna? Who says? How many of you have studied Chaitanya Charitamrita? Once again, I'm asking you a question. There's a wonderful story of how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, once he went to the ocean, right? And when he saw the ocean, he remembered Yamuna river. And he just jumped into the ocean. He went into ecstasy. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he would go into ecstasy, because of the Ashtavikar, his body would get joined and, transformation would take place. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would look like just a huge golden log of flesh, like that. So when Mahaprabhu was floating in the ocean like that, one fisherman caught him, right? And fisherman thought that he is a fish. So the fisherman caught, but he saw the face, he saw the shape, and so he got very scared, right? And then he touched it, and it started shaking. So just a whole golden log of flesh and shaking and all that. The fisherman got very nervous. What did the fisherman do when he became very nervous and very afraid? What did he do? Does anyone know? What did he do? No, what did he do? He sang Narsingarti. He's a fisherman. A person whom you think has no connection with Krishna. But the moment he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he started singing Narsingarti. And what happened is that when he started singing Narsingarti, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went into more ecstasy. So, can you imagine? You all sit here and you chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Because of your singing, how many times you have seen Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here going into ecstasy? He must be going. Visibly going into ecstasy. Here is a fisherman singing Narsingarti, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is going into ecstasy because of his singing. How can you say that they have no connection with Krishna? Right? Despite their regular worship of ocean god, Varun Dev, they are still maintaining connection to Krishna. This is our Indian culture. This is what we need to understand. This is how we should be able to integrate things. So he is worshipping ocean god, right? And interestingly, there was an article which came just before the Holi festival. And it came in the newspaper called Pudhari. I was reading it. And it came along with a photograph. It came along with a photograph with a huge, it's a entire Machimar community, the Koli community of Bombay city, carrying a deity on their shoulder. It's a photo of a deity. And the picture wrote at the bottom that this is the deity of Holika. This is the Holika personality who kept Prahlad Maharaj on her lap and tried to burn him. And in the memory of that incident of Prahlad Maharaj being protected by Narsinga Dev, they still burn this deity of Holika on the day of Holi. Just see. Just see the depth of our Krishna consciousness in our culture. The people whom you apparently may feel has no connection to Krishna are celebrating an event which you even don't speak about or talk about on the day of Holi. Just see this. This is the cooperation of human and demigods. This is the cooperation which Krishna is talking about. Because often what happens is that, we speak about how wonderfully Lord Shiva, he gave Sanatan Goswami the place to stay there, and how that wonderful incident took place, and how wonderfully Saraswati Devi appeared in the dream of Keshav Kashmiri and protected devotees, or how in the pastime of Narottam Das Thakur also, how that Kali Mata appeared to the father of this Hari Ram and Ram Krishna and protected Narottam Das Thakur. We always talk of all these wonderful stories, but we rarely talk of the stories where there is a cooperation between human and demigods. And there is two more stories which I want to tell about, which says that how a devotee's attitude towards is demigod. You see, from a spiritual perspective, a pure devotee is even greater. A pure devotee is actually even greater than a demigod. In that perspective, in terms of being dear to Krishna. So if you have read this wonderful book called as Brihad Bhagavatamrut, written by Sanatan Goswami, in that book it is explained that how somebody is worshipping Indra, and Indra says that no, I am not superior, right? Even Lord Shiva is superior to me. And then when Narad Muni goes to Lord Shiva, Shiva says that actually Prahlad Maharaj is superior to me. And then Prahlad Maharaj says actually Hanumanji is superior to me. And then Hanumanji says actually Pandavas are more superior to me. So from the platform of demigods, you go towards the platform of gopis, which are pure devotees of Krishna. In that sense, right, there is acceptance that they are superior. But how does a devotee interact? Again, speaking about this episode of Varun Dev, right? There's one wonderful thing that I see in ISKCON, which everyone follows, right? I don't know how many of you do it, but most of the devotees, when they take bath, they don't take bath fully naked, right? You put gamsha and do it. Why you do it? Because that's the way you respect Varuna Dev. Correct? It's a wonderful thing that we all follow. Okay, that's the way to respect Varuna Dev, is that you don't show fully your body. Even when you're taking bath, you put gamsha and then you take bath. It's a wonderful thing. So when Krishna stole the garments of the gopis, and the gopis were taking bath, right? Krishna said that you have offended Varuna because you are not wearing clothes. And the gopis agreed to it. Yes, we have offended him. There was no argument. They didn't argue. Correct? This is how a devotee deals with it. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's already 2:30. So then I'll just tell you one incident. Just one incident. And actually I learned it from the lecture of Vrishbhanu Prabhu. He's there. So this incident of that the demon the Maharaj Chitraketu, which appears in Srimad Bhagavatam. So what happened is this Maharaj Chitraketu actually was a normal king, and he was not having a child. So somehow he wanted to have a child. So when Narad Muni came, he said that, okay, I want to have a child. Narad Muni gave him a blessing. Okay, you will have a child, but the child will give you happiness and pleasure both, happiness and distress both, harsha shoka. So he said, okay. So he had that child, and then obviously because he had the child from one queen, he became little partial towards her. The other queens thought that, this is not proper. They became envious. They poisoned the child. The child died. Through that experience, Maharaj Chitraketu underwent a really deep introspection. And through that experience, when he took shelter of Narad Muni and Angira Muni, he actually started following Krishna consciousness. He actually became a devotee. He became such a great devotee that he actually pleased Lord Shankarshan. Right? He actually pleased Lord Shankarshan. So Lord Shankarshan is the incarnation of Lord Balaram, or Anantashesh, who holds the entire cosmos on his head. He became elevated to that level. Now, Lord Shiva is also a great devotee of Shankarshan. Right? There is a song which says, Brahma bole chaturmukhe, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Mahadeva Panchamukhe Rama Rama Hare Hare. Right? That song is there. Wonderful. So Lord Shiva not only worships Lord Ramchandra as Ram, but he actually also worships Balaram. And therefore, in the memory of Balaram or Anantashesh, he has snakes over his neck. Right? So you see Lord Shiva carrying snake. So why to put snakes like that? Because it reminds him of Anantashesh. That is one explanation given by Acharyas. So what happened? Maharaj Chitraketu, he was once flying in the aeroplane, and they were passing over Kailash. And Maharaj Chitraketu had an aeroplane which could actually fly over Kailash. It is mentioned. And he saw Lord Shiva sitting there. Now Lord Shiva was sitting in a very different position. He had Mother Parvati sitting on his lap. So, for Lord Shiva it is all possible. Not only that, he was speaking to a great assembly of ascetics, sadhus. Not only that, he was speaking on the principles of brahmacharya and celibacy and asceticism, like that, with Mother Parvati sitting on his lap. Now Lord Shiva can do it, right? Because he is Lord Shiva. He can do it. What happened is that when he was passing by Maharaj Chitraketu, he saw this happening. And he smiled. He laughed. He just, haha, like that. How funny is this? Now he could do it because he's almost on the same level, because he's also a great devotee of Shankarshan. And Lord Shiva is also a great devotee of Shankarshan. But when Mother Parvati saw that happening, she did not like it. She did not like it. And one devotee recently shared me his realization and his understanding. He must have read it somewhere in the scripture. He said, why Mother Parvati actually became angry? What is the need? You know, it's a normal thing. Okay, he's just laughing, he's just smiling, but what is the need to become so angry? She actually became angry and she cursed him. So we'll come to the curse. But she actually became angry because the rule of this world is that one slowly evolves in this worship of demigods until you reach the worship of Lord Shiva. And through the mercy of Lord Shiva and taking blessings from Lord Shiva, then you enter into the worship of Lord Krishna. And there are so many stories in this regard where you will see that Lord Shiva actually came and he instructed, and then the worship of Vishnu started. The famous Rama Raksha Stotra that we all have been reciting from childhood is given by Lord Shiva. If you see the Prachetas in Bhagavatam, Prachetas were actually guided by Lord Shiva first. And then they proceeded towards the devotion. The famous personality Nimbarka Swami of the Sampradaya, the Nimbarka Sampradaya, he essentially came in contact with Lord Shiva. And through Shiva guided him to 4 Kumaras. So this is the way of evolution. The way of evolution is that you first come under the guidance of Lord Shiva, take shelter of Lord Shiva, and then you evolve into the worship of Lord Vishnu. And Parvati was thinking that this person has gone through this, not gone through this gradual state of evolution. And therefore he is disrespecting my husband. He has become a great devotee through direct mercy of Narad Muni, through direct mercy of Angira Muni. But he has missed the point of honoring Lord Shiva, my husband. And therefore he must be having that false pride in his heart. Therefore he must be punished. And she pronounced a curse. She pronounced a curse that you are laughing at my husband, you will become a demon. You will right now become a demon. As soon as she said this, what was the reaction of Maharaj Chitraketu? He said that, hey Devi, you don't understand, I am on the level of Lord Shiva already. What are you talking about? I will give another curse to you. Not like that. What did he do? He immediately got down, fell at her feet. He said that, I fully accept your, he addressed her as mother. He says, Ambike, I fully accept your curse the way it is. Right? And when Lord Shiva saw that he is doing like this, he pronounced that wonderful verse, which is eternally glorified in the history of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Lord Shiva said, just see these devotees of Lord Narayan. And this is the humility of Lord Shiva. He himself is such a great devotee, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, but when he looks at these devotees, he does not even consider himself as a devotee. He says, just see these devotees of Lord Narayan. He doesn't say, just see we devotees of Lord Narayan. He says, just see these devotees of Lord Narayan, he says. Narayana parasarve na kutashana bibhyati swarga apavarga narkeshu api tulyartha darshinaha. So just see these devotees of Narayan, they are so great. Right? They are so great. And this wonderful point, whether you put them in heaven, whether you put them in hell, or whether they are continuously living, or whether you give them moksha, api tulyartha darshinaha, it is equal to them. Right? Again coming to the point of Sangharsha. The devotees of Lord Narayan, their Anandamaya Kosh is fully developed because their Pranamaya Kosh is also fully developed. Of course, he didn't say like that. I'm just trying to connect it. Such a person, when you put into Swarga, Apavarga, Narkeshu, Apitulyartha Darshinaha. Right? Just see this wonderful connection. This is our culture. Right? Whenever a demigod is becoming angry, Maharaj Chitraketu did not challenge her decision that why you are actually getting disturbed. He didn't argue with her. There's another wonderful story where once Pandavas were going towards Badrinath. Right? And there was one place And when Bhima was going to that place, there was a Akashvani which came and said that don't cross this place because from here beyond you cannot travel. The Swargalok starts from there. So what did Bhima say? Hey, come on, I want to go. I am Bhima. I am a pure devotee of Krishna. I will go. No. Just put his head down, turn back. Full respect to demigods. Maharaj Chitraketu, full respect to demigods. Bhima, full respect to demigods. Another wonderful example. When Yudhishthira Maharaj, after all the Pandavas died, one particular pastime story in Mahabharata says that Yudhishthira Maharaj was taken to hellish planets. And Yamaraj said that Yudhishthira Maharaj, everything in your life is perfect, but you spoke one lie. That lie of whether Dronacharya is killed or not. One lie you spoke, for that you have to come to hell and see the hellish planets yourself. What did Yudhishthira Maharaj say? Hey, come on, what are you talking about? Krishna told me. You know who is Krishna? He is your supreme, he is your father, he is your Lord. What you are telling me, I am following Krishna. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam. You have not read Bhagavad Gita, Yamaraj? No. He said, okay, this is what you say, I accept it. Just see, the greatest of the devotees have had full cooperation with demigods. Right? So now I am not going to tell you a black and white answer, Prabhuji, what should I do or not. I have told you the principles. You use the principles and take your own decision. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions are there, or we can go ahead? Okay, nobody. Thank you so much.